Hello everyone. Today's topic is microbiology of polluted water. Myself Dr. A. Mathuri, Assistant Professor of Microbiology from Government Degree College for Women, Begumpet. Today we'll be learning about what is polluted water and how it is purified in in different stages. So let us try to understand what is sewage. Sewage is a collective noun used to represent liquid or solid waste carried in sewers. So at our homes, whatever used water is there or dirty water is there, that will be entering into sewers, and this sewage will be having different um, particles or material in it, such as suspended solids, nutrients, refractory organics, pathogens and parasites, heavy metals, dissolved inorganics, biodegradable organic compounds, and priority pollutants. So all these components will be present in the sewage water. So if we want to purify the sewage water, we have to remove all these components from the water. Next, what is the objective of this sewage treatment? First one is reduction of biodegradable organic content. We have to remove whatever organic material is there, and reduction of recalcitrant organics. Recalcitrant means the compounds which are resistant for degradation. So such compounds must be removed, and removal of heavy or toxic metals. Toxic metals have to be removed, and removal of compounds containing phosphorus and nitrogen nutrients, because these nutrients will help in growth of unwanted organisms in sewers, and removal and inactivation of pathogenic microorganisms and parasites. We have to remove or inactivate the pathogens and parasites. Next is, there are different levels of sewage treatment. First one is a small scale sewage treatment. In this first type is cesspools. So this cesspools, human waste is thrown uh, in many homes, underground part with a concrete wall of cylindrical rings with pores. So in the cesspool, it is actually constructed with rings which are made of concrete, and these rings will have pores in it. Its opening is near the ground level. At the ground level, it is open, like there is no cement at the ground level, and sewage enters the cesspool through the inlet pipe. Like we are talking about this cesspool, the human waste will enter into the sewage through inlet pipe. The bottom of the cesspool remains open, therefore the suspended solid material falls on the bottom and forms sludge after getting deposited in huge amount. So as ground level, it is open, so water will be absorbed into the ground, and the solid material will be falling on the bottom of the cesspool, which forms a sludge later. And water passes out through open bottom of cesspool and through pores into the surrounding soil. So whatever water is there, it will pass out through the cesspool, through pores which are present in the rings, and also through ground. And the organic materials are decomposed by anaerobic bacteria, resulting in release and deposition of breakdown products on the ground. So whatever organic materials, as we are talking about sewage, definitely organic materials will be there. So these organic materials will be decomposed by anaerobic bacteria that are present in that sewage, and by this decomposition, it will release different products into the cesspool, and the breakdown products will be deposited on the ground. By degrading this organic material, some breakdown products will be there, so that breakdown products will be deposited on the ground. Thus the amount of breakdown products exceeds, it forms a thick layer which need to be cleaned by using strong acids. So as time passes, the concentration of these breakdown products will increase, which forms a layer, thick layer on the ground, which must be cleaned at regular intervals using strong acids. Then dried bacterial preparation of Bacillus subtilis or yeast cells can also be present in these cesspools. So in these cesspools, just we can imagine it is a kind of structure like the rings will be wider at the base and the rings become narrow at the top, and it consists of a series of rings arranged one above the other, and each ring will have some pores in it, right? And at the top there will be an inlet through which the wastewater will enter into the cesspool, and at the base ground level it will be open. And next is a septic tank. Septic tank is a disposal system. It is widely used by individual families in rural areas where public sewers are not available. So in the septic tank system, mainly the septic tanks are used in rural areas where the sewage system is not there or sewers are not available. It is a metal or concrete vat placed below the ground level. So these septic tanks are made of any metal or concretes. It will be placed below the ground level, and the size may vary. Um, Usually it will be 750 gallons tank. These are the measurements of the tank. It will handle the average domestic sewage of family of four. So one thing we have to remember here, septic tanks are constructed by individual families. Okay, if you are constructing a house, and if you are constructing a toilet in that house, and if there is no sewage system in that area, they will go for septic tanks. Okay, so what is this septic tank? It is just a tank which is constructed underground below the toilet or near to the toilet, and its size, if they are constructing around 750 gallons tank, septic tank, so that can fulfill the need of a family of four members. Okay, so this way, if the family is bigger, we have to go for a bigger size tank. Next, sewage entering the tank is retained long enough to permit adequate decomposition. So whatever sewage is entering into the tank, it will be retained in the tank to permit adequate decomposition. It has to, um, as it is staying there for longer time, decomposition will be happening. Next, the sedimentation and biological degradation of the sludge are accomplished. So, by this decomposition, sedimentation and biological degradation are happening. Sedimentation means settling of the waste, and biological degradation means the degradation of the compounds which are present in this tank by microorganisms. That is biological degradation of the sludge. Sludge means it is a solid material which is settling at the base. Much of the organic material is hydrolyzed and fermented by anaerobic bacteria. So in this structure, there is very less access to oxygen. Okay, the oxygen, as it is a closed structure, oxygen cannot enter into the septic tank. So mainly the degradation part is done by anaerobic bacteria. Next, the products include sugars, alcohols, organic acids, amino acids, amines, glycerols, fatty acids, and other chemicals and gases like H2S, hydrogen sulfide, methane, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen. So, when we are talking about degradation of organic compounds, what it is releasing after degradation? The degradation compounds or products may include sugars, alcohols, organic acids, amino acids, amines, glycerols, etc., and some gases like hydrogen sulfide, methane, carbon dioxide, etc. So, the end products are still very unstable, that is high in BOD and odorous. So whatever end products are there, whatever list we have read in the above point, all these compounds are unstable. They are not stable, and this after degradation also, this effluent will have high BOD. BOD means biological oxygen demand, and odor will be there. The effluent from the tank is distributed under the soil surface, a disposable field through perforated pipes. Now water or wastewater has entered into the septic tank. There is a biodegradation process happened, and some products have been released. So this effluent, where it has to go, it has to be distributed in the soil only. Okay, so from the septic tank some perforated pipes will be distributed to the nearest soil area. The process however does not eliminate pathogenic microorganisms carried in the sewage. So whatever pathogens are there, there is no other way to escape for these microorganisms. So definitely they will be present in this septic tank only. And the drinking water supply must be at a safe distance from a septic tank and disposable disposal field. As we are talking about the septic tank, it is first thing is it is underground structure, and second is the water from the septic tank is disposed through the pipes to nearest soil area. So definitely our drinking water pipes must be at a safe distance from the septic tanks, otherwise there can be contamination of drinking water with this sewage water. In the tank there are some materials which are quite resistant to decomposition, so we can't say that everything which is entering into the septic tank can be decomposed. Definitely there will be some problems, like there will be some materials or some recalcitrant materials can be there in these septic tanks which cannot undergo any decomposition. So such compounds, the undigested materials which rest microbial action, are termed as sludge. So whatever the compounds are there which are not undergoing any decomposition, such materials are called as sludge, which has to be taken out periodically by pumping to prevent the tank and drain field from being plugged. So such materials which are not undergoing any decomposition, so there is every like possibility of clogging of drains with this sludge. So this sludge must be removed at a periodical intervals. It can be put on soil where it contributes to humus. So humus is organic compound which helps in increasing the fertility of the soil. So this sludge whatever we are removing from the septic tanks, it can be added to soil, uh, which can further forms humus. So this is the structure of the septic tank. Here you can understand this is the house which can serve one family, right? This is the septic tank which is underground, and this is the water, this is the pipeline building sewer, this is the inlet for the septic tank, and this is the septic tank. Here we can say this is the sludge, and this is the water table. This must be away from the water table. And here from the septic tank there is a disposal field. Okay, through pipes the water can be passed to other areas which are nearby to this septic tank. Okay, next, IMOF tank. We are talking about small scale sewage treatment. In this, we have seen cesspools. Second, we have seen septic tank, and the third one is IMOF tank. This is closely related to septic tank, but is on a larger scale. It is used for treating the sewage of a community or a small city. As we have studied, septic tank is meant for only one family or one house, whereas IMHOF tank can serve for a small city or few houses or small community. It is built in two stories with two compartments, and upper and lower. So in this IMOF tank, there are two compartments. One is upper compartment and the other one is lower compartment. The sewage passes slowly through the upper chamber. The solid material settles out and falls through the bottom opening and collects in the lower chamber. Okay, the sewage is coming out into the upper chamber. First, it will enter into the upper chamber, and then solid material will go to the bottom or lower chamber. Here, anaerobic microorganisms bring about an intense biological decomposition of the sedimented materials. As we have seen in septic tanks, here also anaerobic microorganisms are playing a major role in this decomposition of the sedimented materials. And from these gases, we are also produced which may be collected and burned for heat and power. So, in septic tank there is no provision for collection of any gases, but in AMOF tank there is a provision for collection of these gases which can be used for generating heat or power. The less digested materials or sludge is removed periodically for further treatment. Similarly, with the septic tank, AMOF tank also, the sludge must be removed at a periodical intervals. So it will have two chambers, upper chamber and the lower chamber will be there. And the second point is it is a serving for a small city. Right. Next, large scale treatment. In this, there are three stages. One is primary treatment, second one is secondary treatment, and the third one is tertiary treatment. Okay. Primary treatment means physical separation of insoluble materials to lower BOD. So in primary treatment we have to go for physical separation. Okay, means a kind of filtration, a kind of separation of water from solid materials. Okay, or insoluble materials can be removed, by which BOD can be decreased to some extent. Next is secondary treatment. Here microbial decomposition of organic material will take place, means microorganisms will degrade the organic material which is present in the sewage. And tertiary treatment is about chemical removal of inorganic nutrients and pathogenic microbes. So in this tertiary treatment we'll be using some chemicals for removing inorganic nutrients and also pathogens from the sewage. So coming to the first stage, that is primary treatment. Here physical removal of 20 to 30% of organic materials present in sewage in particulate form. So as we filter tea powder from the tea, similarly here we are filtering insoluble material or particulate material from the sewage water. Primary treatment involves the removal of larger floating debris along with a high percentage of suspended materials. So similarly, whatever debris are there, whatever waste paper or insoluble materials, any kind of insoluble materials can be removed at this stage. Next is strategies adopted depend on the nature of the specific wastewater and the subsequent treatment processes. Here, um, we adopt strategies which can remove specific waste from the water, and that can be subjected to further purification. The first step, the screens that are designed to remove larger objects such as rags, papers, etc. So here there we can assume a kind of gates will be there, okay, or screens will be there which can remove water will be flowing through these screens with pressure. And when the water passes through these screens or gates, larger objects will be stopped at the gate, and that whatever collected material is there, solid material, that must be removed at the regular intervals. Next, solid materials collected on the screens are removed manually or automatically, are either incinerated or buried in landfill sites. So whatever material is getting stopped at the gates or these filters, that must be removed manually or automatically by machines. And after removing of that waste, that waste must be incinerated or burnt. Or first we have to go for other options such as burying or burying in landfills, or if there is no option of burying, then last option should be incineration or burning. Next, large particles not removed by screens are reduced by comminuators. So the particles which are not removed by screens, that must be removed by comminuators. Next, wastewater is allowed to pass through grit chambers which are designed to remove more than 95% of particles greater than zero point 0.2 millimeters in diameter. So the wastewater which is passing through grit chambers here, in the previous step we have seen the screens or filters. Here grit chambers will be there. So these grit chambers, they are designed in such a way that they can remove 95% of the particles from the water which are having the size greater than zero point 0.2 millimeter. Here you can imagine most of the suspended material can be removed at this step of grit chambers. Now, the settled grit is removed from the bottom of the channel and is either washed for use as building material or is disposed of in landfill. Here in grit chamber also, as in screens we have seen in the previous step, here also some suspended material will be there. That suspended material is called as grit. So this grit will be used for build as a building material, or if if not, then it can be disposed in landfills. Next, resulting solid material from the primary treatment is called as primary sludge. So whatever solid material is being collected in this step of primary treatment, that will be called as primary sludge. So just I'm revising this step because it is more important. So primary treatment means here we are removing the suspended materials. First we are using screens which can remove the collected papers, covers, or whatever some larger particles are there, we can remove in these screens. And next we have grit chambers which are removing the particles of greater than zero point 0.2 millimeters, where 95% of suspended material will be removed. And this grit or that waste which is collected at the screens, both they can be disposed by putting it in a landfills, or we can go for incineration as a last step, right? Next, coming to the secondary treatment. So in the primary treatment, what we understood, it is just a physical separation or physical method. We are just separating the suspended materials from the liquid. Next, secondary treatment, this is a biological step, biological method for the treatment. First one is physical method, second step or secondary treatment is a biological method, right? So this secondary or biological treatment utilizes the activities of mixed microbial populations to remove polluting components of wastewater or reduce their concentration prior to disposal. Here the secondary treatment will use the activities of mixed microbial populations to remove polluting components. Means these components will be removed from this water by mixed microbial population. Different types of microorganisms will be used in this step. By this process, about 90 to 95% of the BOD and many pathogens are removed. 90 to 95% of the biological oxygen demand will be removed. What is this biological oxygen demand? First, BOD means biological oxygen demand. What this states, what this BOD signifies, it shows the oxygen required or the demand for oxygen by biological entities, means the microorganisms which are, or the organisms which are present in the water, how much oxygen they require. That calculation or that number is called as BOD. So it is seen that the water which is having high BOD is more polluted, and the water which is having less BOD is of better quality. So our aim in sewage treatment will be to reduce the BOD, to reduce the biological oxygen demand. So by the secondary treatment, it is said that about 90 to 95% of the BOD will be reduced. Okay, and many pathogens are removed. Here, most of the pathogens will be removed in this secondary step. And there are several means by which BOD can be reduced in secondary treatment. So, how this BOD is reduced? Reduction of BOD by 90% is achieved through mineralization of small fraction of organic matter and conversion of large proportion to removable solids. Okay, so how this BOD is reduced? First is by mineralization, and second is conversion of this material into removable solids. Okay, it means that precipitation, sedimentation, flocculation, all these will come under this removal of conversion of this material into removable solids. Now, this we can see in the later steps. Microbial activities may be aerobic or anaerobic. Secondary treatment is done by several methods such as microbial treatment, which are aerobic process, anaerobic process. Okay, so here secondary treatment will have two processes. One is aerobic and the other one is anaerobic. Now, first one is aerobic. Here organic material in the liquid state is oxidized by microbial activity as in oxidation ponds, aerating filter or trickling filter and activated sludge. In this secondary treatment process, you have to remember that it is having two processes. One is aerobic and the other one is anaerobic. Aerobic process is having three types. One is oxidation ponds, second one is trickling filters, and the third one is activated sludge. Now, organic materials are oxidized to inorganic materials such as carbon dioxide, sulfates, nitrates, phosphates, and water. So, whatever organic material is there in this uh, water, it will be oxidized to inorganic materials. Right, they are thus mineralized. First one is oxidation lagoons or ponds, second one is trickling filters, and the third one is activated sludge process. Now let us study one by one. Oxidation ponds or lagoons. Here uh, these are shallow ponds with a depth of about 5 feet, used mainly for aerobic stabilization of waste. Here we are talking about reduction of BOD, biological oxygen demand. Okay, so this BOD can be reduced by this oxidation ponds, where we have to go for shallow ponds. Shallow pond means just pond means water body. Shallow means there won't be more depth. Okay, depth will be only 5 feet. And these ponds are used for aerobic stabilization of waste. Whatever wastewater is there, in that oxygen can enter into this water body. Oxygenation of wastewater by wind action and photosynthesis by algae. So main aim of these oxidation ponds is water oxygen has to enter into the wastewater. Oxygen has to enter into the wastewater. It can be done by wind action and photosynthesis process by algae. Okay, wind action means by wind also the oxygen can enter into the water, and by photosynthesis process, we know in photosynthesis the algae which are present in this wastewater, they will be carrying out the process of photosynthesis, right? But where they will be using light and carbon dioxide, and they will be synthesizing carbohydrates, but in this process they will be releasing oxygen. Okay, so oxygen will be entering into this water body. The interaction of bacteria and algae. So when bacteria and algae interact with each other, it also help in stabilization of this water. Bacteria digest and oxidize organic material in sewage. So what algae is carrying out, um, algae is doing photosynthesis, whereas bacteria will digest or break down and oxidize organic material in the sewage. Next, algae utilize carbon dioxide and other substances releasing from the bacterial action. So when bacteria digest these organic materials, definitely carbon dioxide will be released, so that carbon dioxide will be utilized by algae. Not only carbon dioxide, other substances, small molecules will also be released, so that substances will also used by algae, and through which photosynthesis will be carried out, and by this photosynthesis oxygen will be released into the water. Next, oxygen evolved by algae after photosynthesis maintain the oxygen deficit created by heterotrophs and thus reduce BOD by 75 to 90%. So when oxygen is entering into us, when oxygen is released into the water body or oxidation ponds through photosynthesis, definitely oxygen demand will be reduced, right? So by which BOD can be reduced by 75 to 90%. The efficiency of oxidation process can be improved by constructing shallow ponds. So efficiency means when we are going for oxidation ponds, definitely the depth must be uh, less, so that more oxygen can penetrate to the depth of the ponds. The algae growing in oxidation ponds are Chlorella pyrenoidosa, Chlorella ellipsoides, Senidesmus acutus, Senidesmus quadricorda, Spirulina platensis. So these are different algae which are able to grow in these oxidation ponds, and this is recommended for small communities in rural areas where suitable and efficient sufficient land is available. So oxidation ponds can be constructed in rural areas, okay, because in urban areas we won't have sufficient area, sufficient land won't be there. So whereas in rural areas we can get sufficient land where we can construct or we can go for this oxidation ponds. This is the diagram for oxidation ponds. Here you can see we have talked about algae, bacteria, photosynthesis in oxidation ponds, right? So this is the heterotrophs, uh, which are not carrying out any photosynthesis. This is the algae which is carrying out photosynthesis. This is the photic zone, means light can penetrate to this level and there can be photosynthesis. That is why photic zone. Here, aerobic heterotrophic zone. Okay, these are autotrophs. This zone is for autotrophs, and the next zone or the second zone is for heterotrophs, but aerobic heterotrophs. Okay, because oxygen can penetrate up to this level, their aerobic organisms are present in this zone, and the last zone is anaerobic zone. Okay, last one is anaerobic zone. Here we are having inorganic nutrients, here organic waste are, and this is residues. At the base, residues will be settled on, organic waste will be utilized by heterotrophs, and inorganic nutrients will be utilized by algae. This is the structure of oxidation bond. Next is we are studying about aerobic methods for secondary treatment, secondary sewage treatment, right? So in the second one is trickling filters. Here, if you can see the structure diagram, this is trickling filter. Okay, it will be having a rock of bed of rocks. This is the bed, and this is a pipe through which sewage water will be coming out, right? It will be rotating water. This water will be coming out through this outlets, okay, and it will be rotating. So when it rotates and disperse water, the water will be falling on this bed, and so when this water will fall on the bed, different microorganisms will be there, and that microorganisms will degrade or break down the organic compounds present in the wastewater, and pure water will be entering or filtering, getting filtered through this bed, which enters into the pipe, and this liquid effluent will be supplied to other chamber. Okay, so this is the bed, and this is the distributing arm, and here heterotrophs will be there, different bacteria or heterotrophs which can break down the compounds, they are present on these rocks, and gradually the water will be getting more clear when it passes from the top of the bed to the bottom of the bed, and thus clean water or purified water can be supplied to other area. So now let us study about these trickling filters. Here again, this is a aerobic method, aerobic sewage treatment method. Next, it is having a simple device. As we have seen, it consists of a bed of crushed stones. We have seen that. And in this bed, it will have stone, gravel, slag, and a synthetic material which drains made at the bottom of the tank. It consists of large bed of stones, 8 to 12 feet deep. We have seen that bed, it will be around 8 to 12 feet, and liquid is sprayed over the surface of the bed either by series of sprinklers or by rotating sparges. We have seen the sprinklers, right? And revolving sprinkler, as I has told, that sprinkler will revolve, and it will suspend over a bed of porous material which distributes the liquid sewage. As the sewage is coming out of the trickling filter or sprinklers, it will be distributed throughout the bed, that's liquid sewage. Okay, and collects the effluents at the bottom. From the top, the water or the sewage will be filtered through the bed. Due to spraying process, sewage is saturated by oxygen as it is coming from the height. Before falling onto the bed, the water can be mixed with the oxygen. Okay, the sewage can be mixed with oxygen. The porous filter bed becomes coaty with slimy bacterial growth, mainly by Zuglia, Ramigera, and other slime producing bacteria. So, when the water or the sewage falls on the bed, it it will result in slimy growth, bacterial growth. So what kind of bacteria is seen in that is Zuglia ramigera, and the slime is colonized by heterotrophs such as Begiotova alba, Spirotillus natans, Achromobacter species, Pseudomonas, Flavobacterium, fungi, nematodes, protozoa, etc. And they form a stationary microbial culture because of continuous supply of nutrients present in sewage and metabolizing the organic constituents into the more stable end products. So continuously there will be spraying of sewage onto the bed, so by which the microorganisms will grow due to presence of nutrients in the sewage, and they will form a stationary mat or stationary microbial culture will be, or mat like kind of thing will be formed on the bed. Definitely here in this step BOD will be reduced because the water is getting mixed with oxygen, and a newly constructed bed needs a few weeks to function efficiently. So if we take new bed, it won't function efficiently until few weeks, until the zubial film can be formed on the bed. The sewage is sprayed intermittently so that as a layer of water goes down the filter, it draws a layer of air above it down through the filter. So the sewage will be sprayed intermittently or slowly so that it can be mixed with oxygen. This permits maintenance of aerobic conditions in the bed. So the water will take the oxygen and it will enter into the bed. So aerobic conditions will prevail in the bed. Filtering medium becomes coated with living film of aerobic strongly oxidative microorganisms, as we have seen in the diagram. In the bed, different this rocks kind of thing are present. So on that particles, so this microorganisms will be there. These organisms readily hydrolyze and oxidize organic matter. They will become more efficient in degrading the organic material which is present in the sewage, and effluent which is coming from the base of the bed is will be more clear in nature. This is the diagram which we have seen earlier also. Next, activated sludge process. This is another third method in the aerobic process of secondary sewage. Here, one thing you have to remember, uh, we are talking about the sludge. Sludge means till now we have understood whatever settled material is it, that is called as sludge. What do you mean by activated? You have to understand here, right? So this is the most efficient and popular systems in purification of sewage by biological treatment, as we have discussed. Secondary step itself is a biological method. Okay, so in this biological method, activated sludge method is very mm, important method and more efficient and popular method. Next, this activated sludge is prepared by aerating sewage vigorously. Means we are collecting the sewage. You can see the diagram. We are collecting the sewage in a tank and we are aerating it. We are mixing the sewage vigorously. Vigorously means at a very faster rate. So what happens with this vigorous mixing? The finely suspended and colloidal material, including many microorganisms, forms aggregates known as floccules. When we mix these contents very fastly, it will form floccules. What will be there in these floccules? These floccules may have microorganisms or colloidal material or suspended material. Anything can be there, but it will form a floccules. These floccules, as they will be heavy in nature, they will settle down and then used to inoculate another batch of aerated sewage. Flocculation occurs in a shorter time than before. So when this flocculation is occurring here, the whatever settled floccules will be there, these floccules if we take and if we inoculate into the fresh batch of sewage, then this flocculation or sedimentation will happen at a faster rate. That sludge, whatever settled matter we are taking from the previous batch, adding to the next batch. Okay, so that is called as activated sludge. This is the tank, primary settling tank. This is the aeration tank, and this is the secondary settling tank. So whatever sludge is there, first we have to dispose the sludge, but some of the sludge is taken for the next level, next fresh tank. So when we add this sludge from the previous step to the fresh tank, this flocculation or settling will happen at a faster rate. That is why it is called as a activated sludge process. After repetition of the process several times, a sedimented flock called as activated sludge is obtained, which will have mixed species of bacteria together with yeast, molds, and protozoa. So, in this sludge, what we are calling as activated sludge, it will have many bacteria, yeast, molds, and protozoa. So, which have the capability of making the flocculation very fast. So, several species of bacteria embed themselves in mass of polysaccharide gum called zooglea. So, how these floccules are formed? They are bound by gum called as zooglea, living glue. And this violent aeration promotes growth and activity of aerobic microorganisms. When we are make mixing this water or sewage at a faster rate, it will definitely make oxygen to enter into the water, turning it into an aerobic process. So the fluid part is passed into the settling tank, sludge flocks and settles out. We are here. We are more concerned about the sludge, and the fluid part is separated into the another tank. We will take the sludge. A portion of the return of the sludge will be returned to activate a new batch of sewage and rest is pumped to a digestion chamber. So whatever sludge we collect, okay, entire sludge we can't use, only a part of it will be given to the next what do you say batch, and the remaining sludge will be sent to digestion chamber. Digestion is designed to promote anaerobic decomposition. So in when we are talking about this digestion chamber, it is an anaerobic process, and here the anaerobic and facultative microorganisms digest organic compounds into soluble substances and gaseous products. In this anaerobic digestion, the compounds which are present in this sludge will be digested into soluble substances and gaseous products. So in this sludge digestion, methane will be released. It will be methane will comprise about 70%, which can be trapped and used for various purposes. And the sludge remaining after digestion is dried into cakes and incinerated or sold as fertilizers. So after decomposition or digestion, whatever solid material is left in this digestion chamber will be used can be used as a fertilizer, or it can be formed into cakes, or it can be incinerated. The effluent liquid from the settling tank represents completely treated sewage. So whatever effluent is coming from this tank is treated as a clear water. And after this digestion, it cannot have it won't contain most of the organic matter will be removed, but it will have dissolved oxygen, nitrates, sulfates and phosphates will be there, which have to be mm, cleared in later steps. The treated sewage can be discharged directly into larger body of water. This does not seriously affect animal life, but the salts do stimulate growth. So here, as organic material is not there, it can be discharged into a larger water body, and it won't affect the water body in a serious manner. But the salts which are present in this, they may stimulate growth of some algae. And few pathogens remain alive. Therefore, chlorine is usually added at the rate of 2 to 5 parts per million parts of liquid. So, as there is a possibility of some pathogens to remain alive in this effluent, there is a need for chlorination of where we can use 2 to 5 ppm of chlorine. This is digestion sludge inlet. This is the sludge, and spent sludge will be released. And this methane, whatever methane is released, we can take collect from the methane vent. And tertiary treatment is remaining, but the video is getting longer, so better to stop here. We'll continue in the next video.